Hey, my name's Kelsey. I'm a genius here at United BMW, and today we're going to talk about the new 2019 Z4.
The Z4 is back after a brief 3-year hiatus. The chassis, powertrain, and body have all been completely retuned and redesigned to reintroduce that genuine sports car pedigree BMW has always been known for. The design language on the exterior echoes the new 8 Series. This is particularly evident from the front, the sides here, and then especially here in the back, where you can see they've continued with the darker glass and the 3D design elements around the trunk. The 2019 Z4 is 3.3 inches longer, 2.9 inches wider, half an inch taller than the previous generation, and the wheelbase is 1 inch shorter. New colors for the 2019 model include San Francisco Red and Frozen Gray 2 Metallic. However, Frozen Gray 2 Metallic and Misano Blue will only be available with the addition of the M Sport package. So the headlights on the Z4 are standard LEDs, but in a first for BMW, one has been stacked on top of the other instead of the side-by-side feature that we've seen almost since the beginning of BMW. But they are standard LEDs and there are some upgrades available, but this new look kind of adds to the sleeker, sportier look of a Roadster. And of course, we can't talk about the Z4 or any other new BMW without mentioning the grille. It's designed in a modernized honeycomb pattern with an interesting 3D design. Some die-hard BMW fans may recognize the grille. It echoes the design of the BMW Zagato introduced at the 2012 Concours d'Eleganza in Lake Como. There are 2 roof options on this model, standard black that we see here or moonlight black, which is kind of a dark gray. Both of them will be available in soft top only. However, the cabin is still quieter than previous hardtop generations. It also weighs less than previous generations. The overall mechanism is smaller and it lowers the center of gravity, allowing for a 50% larger trunk than what we're used to. You can see that here. And the trunk size is the same whether or not the top is up or down. It's large enough to fit 2 full golf bags back here. So before we get into the inside, I do just want to illustrate again where the top goes, because that's always an issue with these convertibles. So we're going to do our key trick again. We're going to hold it down and you'll see there's a little bit of space right in there where the top is going to fold into. So first the glass, oops, and then the rest of the top will come down and it folds over on itself. That'll lock. And then if we open up the trunk here, you can see really none of this space has been affected, whereas before it would come down with the mechanism to about here and you'd have to lift it up. And then back here, there is just a little bit of storage space over here on the side. I think we have manuals in there now and a front license plate cover. This cover over here really isn't necessary for consumers. It's more access points for a technician with your fuse boxes. And then this is where your BMW toolkit exists. So you have your tow hook right here, and then of course your famous Phillips and flathead screwdriver there, and then a flat tire kit should you ever need it.
Now, this isn't necessarily a new feature. It's been around with manufacturers probably since the invention of the key fob, but it's still worth talking about and it's a lifesaver in the summer. You can open and close the windows and the hood on the convertibles from the lock or unlock buttons here. So since the top is up and the windows are up, we're going to press and hold the unlock button. It's going to unlock the car and then the top is going to begin to move. Just like that. Now it is important to note that if you let go for whatever reason, it's going to stop exactly where it left off. And then all you have to do to restart it is hold down the unlock button again. It takes a second, but it'll start to move. And then you'll hear a chime, and on your iDrive screen you'll see that the movement has been completed. The top has been locked in place. If you want to put the top back up, you're going to press and hold the lock button. It's going to beep, the top will begin to move, but it won't roll the windows all the way up. It's going to go about 75%.
Alright, so coming inside, you can see, first of all, the now famous redesigned door handle in that Hofmeister kink design there. You can't really see it now because it's so bright, but the doors do come standard with part of an ambient lighting package. You can opt to add in the full ambient lighting package to have LED strips around the dash and in your steering wheel as well. You can also see the door sills. It has a protective cover on it now, but it's been redone in that aluminum satin finish that we see on the 5 and 7 Series and most other vehicles. Before we jump in though, let's talk about the seats. These are sport seats. The sport seats are standard on all Z4 models. However, black Sensitech is standard. This is the upgraded Vernasco leather option that we have here. Now coming inside, you can see it does carry the upgraded light panel. So this is going to turn them off. This is going to turn on the automatic option. This is just your headlights on, parking lights. These are your side of the road lights. And then this changes the brightness of your dash here. You can see on the multifunction steering wheel, we have the upgraded cruise control panel here, and then the new redesigned entertainment controls right there. Now, it's uncommon for the Roadster segment, but it does come with a head-up display as well as wireless charging, seen here, and an option for Wi-Fi as well. You can also see the one USB port that's in the vehicle right there, as well as a 12-volt charger for car chargers. And then here in the center console, we have 2 cup holders and 1 USB-C port. Now, if you have cups in the cup holders, you don't have to leave this open. You can close this side so that you can still rest your arm on it while you're driving. But you will notice here in the dash, it does have the new 2019 design of the start-stop button here. This is your auto start-stop button right there. Traction control up here. This is your backup camera. And then of course your different driving modes right there. Looking at the dash, you'll notice that these do contain the same design elements that we've been seeing in our other 2019 models. This is what we call BMW Cockpit Professional. Both of these screens are 10.25 inches. This operating system is the new iDrive 7.0. So it does still have the same widget function that our other 2019 models have, where you can create additional pages to show you context-based information. So you can have the G-forces, you can have the weather. All you have to do is press and hold, select this little tile here, and then you can go through sport displays, choose fun. And there you go. So you have a lot more options for customization than ever before. Coming into media, same thing. We'll notice that our radio information has been updated to show you all 3 of the station name, the artist, and the song title. Alright, so here we have the updated climate control system. You'll notice that this is more condensed than what we're used to seeing from BMW. So this one here is going to adjust the fan speed. These 2 here, just the temperature on either side. This is controlling where the air is blowing. Auto turns on your ambient temperature sensor, which is located right here, weird little button, and that's going to maintain the cabin at whatever temperature you have set. So it will match them, but it'll maintain the cabin at 60 degrees, or in this case about 59, instead of just blowing 60-degree air at you all day. This is your rear defroster, your front defroster. These 2 outer buttons are your seat heaters. Max AC turns the temperature all the way down and the fan all the way up. This is turning on the air recirculation. If it's off, that means it's just constantly pulling in fresh air. And then if we hit menu AC, it's going to bring up additional climate functions that we just couldn't fit down below. So you can adjust air quality is the circulation. You can adjust your heating and ventilation temperatures. You can set climate control rules if you want the seat heater to come on below a certain temperature. And you can also adjust preconditioning. So here's where you can engage remote start, and we'll talk about how to use that here in a second. I always feel like it's worth noting for a size comparison that I'm a very average 5'7" size person, and I fit in these vehicles excellently. However, we do have guests and some client advisors and other employees that are 6'5" and above, and they have almost no issue sitting in here
and navigating everything just fine. These cars are designed to be fairly small, so you can see the amount of storage back here is pretty little. It's just a little bit wider than my hand here. It's supposed to be about the same interior size as a Porsche 911. So it's really meant for driving and enjoying the drive than it is to haul groceries or anything else. But if you want to, you can still fit a month's worth of groceries in the trunk. So I feel like in a smaller vehicle like this, it is important to talk about size and what you can expect from that. As a very average sized 5'7" person, I fit in this car with no problem. Getting in and out is super easy for me, but we do have some guests and some other employees that are 6'5" and above, and they have no issue getting in and out of the vehicle. They can drive it comfortably and not really have an issue. So to give a better idea of what I'm talking about, here in the back you can see it's not super wide space. It's about as wide as my hand, but there is just a little bit of room. This is pushed pretty far back even for me. And then you do have this pass through here that leads back to the trunk where you can fit some longer items if you need. So this is another feature that's not really necessarily new, but it's something that doesn't really get talked about a lot. I think most people are kind of hesitant to do this with their brand new BMW that they just spent $50,000, $60,000 on. But the nice thing about modern convertibles is that you don't have to be stopped to put the top up or down. You don't even have to really be going slow. The top will open and close in 10 seconds at speeds up to 30 miles an hour. So as long as you're ready for it, you just push the button down and it'll open, and then pull the lever up and it'll close. Let's talk some basics. The Z4 starts at $49,700. It's got the BMW B46 engine, which is a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine. The transmission is an 8-speed automatic that comes with launch control. Does 0 to 60 in 5.2 seconds. It's got 255 horsepower, 295 pound-feet of torque, which is 15 and 35 respectively over the predecessor. And it has a combined estimated MPG of about 20 miles per gallon. So the Z4 comes with what we call the touchless comfort access, which means with the right settings you can walk away and approach the vehicle both within about 5 to 6 feet, and the vehicle will lock and unlock itself. Back and forth. Another great thing about the 2019 Z4 is remote start. So all you're going to do is press the remote 3 times and then hold it on the 3rd. The lights are going to flash 4 times and then the engine will start. It is important to note though that if you're doing this a lot to show off, eventually it's going to stop. Also, if the car is low on gas or if you're just out of range of the normal fob usage, it's not really going to want to work. If you've turned it on by accident or if you want to turn it off, press 3 times again, hold on the 3rd time, lights will flash and the engine will turn off on its own. Now if you do want it on, and you can get it to turn on, whenever you are ready to get in your car and drive away, you want to unlock it, and then you're going to come in and you're going to push the start button anyway. You're going to put your foot on the gas and you're going to push the start button, and that just tells the car that the owner is in the vehicle, is ready to drive away, it's not being stolen off a lot. Now to answer your super questions, because I know you have them, it's not the same engine as the Z4 that we looked at today, but it is very similar to the Z4 M40i engine and the M340i engine, both of which are coming out a little bit later this year. It is pretty much the same engine, just retuned for Toyota. So the Supra is going to have a horsepower of about 335, and then the BMW is going to have about 382. They do both have an 8-speed automatic transmission, but the Z4 is going to do 0 to 60 in 3.9 and the Supra is going to come in at 4.1. The suspension and the wheelbase are both very similar. The BMW is just a little bit heavier, and it does of course start at a higher price point because it is of course coming from a luxury manufacturer. But that's really where the similarities end. The Supra is still a fantastic vehicle. It's going to be so much fun to drive, and the Z4 is of course a BMW. So it will have the addition of a head-up display, of Wi-Fi, wireless charging, a track handling package that's also available in this model. So just a few more luxury options that you couldn't get from a manufacturer like Toyota in a vehicle like a Supra. And that's pretty much it for the Z4. If you have any other questions, please always feel free to stop by or give us a call.